Just when you thought the border crisis couldn't get any worse, you've got to see this. A 95-year-old Korean War veteran kicked out of his nursing home to make way for illegal immigrants in New York. Watch.
So, Frank, I think they want to hear from you about your thoughts.
Okay. First, go ahead.
Oh, I guess they want to give you this microphone.
First, I'd like to thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure to meet all these people as interested as I am in what's going on. Now, the thing I'm annoyed about is how they did it. It was very disgraceful what they did to the people in Island Shores. They gave us time to get out, but they never said when, and they never said they were going to get us out. And then one day, there's a thing on the board, a notice on the board, you gotta be out by March 15th. I think that gave us like a month and a half to find out where we're gonna go. I thought my suitcases were gonna be on the curb because I'm not that fast. If it wasn't for my daughter, they would have been on the curb. But that's what it happened, and that was it. I said, no, you're not moving me. And they said, yes, we are. And everything was done behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a chance to actually make any attempt to stop them because there wasn't enough time. I thank Richie over there for looking after me. He did a terrific job.
Frank, that's all good.
Between him, my daughter, and my grandkids, I survived.
Well, I'll say this. Frank is very fortunate to have a loving family and a support system. He's fortunate to have his daughter Barbara, his grandson Michael have been willing to help, but not every senior has that. And we know that there are seniors that were in that facility that did not have that support system, and that's why we demand to know what happened to them. But it also brings up a point that they were forced to leave on a certain day in March. Yet, when the elected officials inquired, they were told they don't want to sell in this market. What was the rush then? That's the question we need the media to ask Homes for the Homeless. If you didn't sell the property, and you still weren't interested in selling the property, then what was the rush to get these senior citizens out? They deserve to know. They deserve to have answers. And if this is a nonprofit organization that wants to keep its nonprofit status, they better have the answers to those questions.
That is Frank Tomorrow, and we should all be grateful to Frank for his service in the Korean War, and we certainly owe him not just our gratitude, but we owe him a lot more than kicking him out on the street to make way for illegal immigrants, or migrants, as they keep saying up in New York City. That's the euphemism for people entering this country illegal and then demanding housing, demanding food, demanding shelter, and demanding schools for their children. And to make way for them and to acquiesce to their demands, the city of New York partnered with the company that purchased Frank's nursing home and then gave everybody, as you saw, less than 2 months' notice to get out. Frank's been living there for years. He's 95 years old. He's wheelchair bound. And he was kicked out on the street because the city of New York prioritized illegal immigrants over Frank, a Korean War veteran and United States citizen. And when you ask any politician in New York about this, well, they'll give you a lot of lip service and they'll wring their hands and they'll say, yes, this is a disaster. It's a humanitarian crisis. We don't know what to do. This is all the fault of the governor of Texas. Yeah. They're blaming Greg Abbott. They're blaming the governor of Texas because he sent, over the course of the last year, about 13,000 illegal immigrants by the busload up to New York. But here's the thing. New York City is actually dealing with over 20,000 illegal immigrants on their streets coming in there on a monthly basis. So if Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, has only sent them about 1,000 a month, and they're dealing with more than 20,000 a month, where are the rest of them coming from? Other red state MAGA hat wearing governors? No, they're coming from the Biden administration. Don't get caught up in this partisan warfare where Democrats in Chicago and New York and D.C. and California are blaming conservative Republicans like Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott, that's just a smokescreen. And frankly, it's a lie. The reason Frank had to give up his bed in his room, in his nursing home, to make way for an illegal immigrant who shouldn't be here in the first place is because of Joe Biden. Because Joe Biden became president of the United States and decided he would reverse all of Donald Trump's border security policies. And now, after over 5 million illegal immigrants have entered this country, our priority as a nation, through the leadership of Democrat Joe Biden and Democrats in states like New York and Illinois and California, our priority is the illegal immigrants, the people who are breaking the law by being here in the first place. And who has to pay the penalty? Who gets thrown out on the streets? Frank tomorrow, 95 years old, Korean War veteran. He's the one who has to pay the penalty to make way for illegal immigrants. Who's in favor of this? Who's in favor of throwing Frank out on the street and giving his bed to somebody who broke into this country illegally? Nobody is. Well, that's not true. There's a handful of very powerful, very wealthy, very elite Democrat politicians who are in favor of this. In fact, they're the only ones who are not only promoting this and supporting this, they're the only ones defending this. And the vast majority of them, well, they're sleeping well in their bed, in their home. In fact, they're probably behind a nice security wall, a wall to protect them from people illegally entering their property. This is not about Democrats. There's millions of Democrats in this country who see how horrible this is. They don't agree with this. They're on Frank's side. This isn't about Democrats. This is about the elite, powerful politicians who represent Democrats. They're not on Frank's side. Whose side are they on?